The cost of speaking my truth was losing my entire family. And it's entirely worth it. But before I could have gotten to this place where I became grounded enough in my truth to be able to handle this sacrifice was a million attempts, a million moments where I did take advantage and I did speak my truth even when my voice was shaking. And this was happening at the various jobs I was working at, exposing the injustice, exposing the unfairness, exposing the favoritism, because that just I don't rock with that at all. And like, I'm very big and adamant on truth and on fairness and on justice and on truth, just simply truth, fairness, transparency. And so when I clock that, I can't not say anything. Like, it's in my blood, it's in my nature to say something and expose the truth for what it is once I find out what it is. And that's something I've done my whole life. Like, I've done that within my family, which is why I was scapegoated from a very young age. I was, for whatever reason, you never know why you're targeted by your family, why you're ostracized, why you're chosen. But I do know that I am a truth teller, and I do know that many individuals who become scapegoated are truth tellers. And they are very deep empaths. But before I could reach this point of boldness, of courage, and of strength, being grounded in my essence, I had to practice being that person. And to practice being that person looked like taking advantage of all of the moments where I could speak my truth. Even when my voice was shaking, even when my legs were trembling, because telling your truth is scary. You don't know what's going to happen afterwards. What happens after you finally take some time to decipher what am I being pulled towards? What am I being magnetized towards? You are at this point now where you're aware that the identity that you've been holding on to, the identity that shrinks themselves to be chosen, the identity of the person that, dilutes their messaging, dilutes their message just to be understood, rather than speaking directly from the soul and trusting that the people that are meant to see them will see them and will hear them. There's a variety of reasons why we shapeshift and mold. And oftentimes it's because as humans, we want to belong. We want to belong to a community. We want to belong to our family, to our kin. But what happens when that same community becomes the place where you are trampled and you are being sacrificed? How long will you choose to stay silent? How long will you allow yourself to be this person that is being targeted, ostracized, scapegoated, and abused? How long will you be the person at work that takes on more than they can handle? And on the outside, they look like they've got it all together. They got everything organized and put together. But truly on the inside, you are broken and you are fractured and you don't feel like yourself. You're exhausted. This is happening because there's become a disconnect between your truth, which is that feeling you have inside that you just can't put a finger on, and your reality, who you are operating as. Who are you operating as? You can figure this out by looking at your day-to-day. How do you speak to yourself? Do you have boundaries? Do you have limitations? Do you honor your capacity? Or do you endlessly negotiate with your feelings so that you don't disappoint your friend, so that you don't upset your mom, upset your aunt, upset your boss? Excuse me. So what you're telling me is you're sacrificing your truth because you're more concerned with making other people comfortable. And I understand there may be risks with telling your truth. But I mean, the more important risk, the risk of losing yourself, has already become apparent. And it's become apparent in your exhaustion. It has become apparent in your frustration. Your emotions are trying to signal something to you. Your feelings, these loops are trying to communicate something to you. This cycle of abandoning yourself, it needs to end in order to welcome this new season in your life. And I'm speaking to those that are in this liminal space of you're in the process of entirely letting go of who you were. The person that brought you this far can't take you to this next season in your life. This is the chapter where you become the best version of yourself, the most honest version of yourself, the most truthful, the most faithful, the most abundant, the most prosperous. But in order to become that person, you must first release the person that is fearful, is avoidant, is skeptical, is neglectful of themselves and of their duties, responsibilities. That is the person you have to integrate. And someone asked me, what does integration mean? And how do you know that you have to integrate? Well, you know that you have to integrate when you become aware of the dissonance. There's a disconnect. You can feel it. You're tired. You're not sure. These relationships, you've outgrown them. This job, you've outgrown. These relationships, you have outgrown. When the rooms that once felt expansive now feel suffocating. You feel closed in. You feel boxed in. I remember feeling that way. At my last job, before I quit, before I was called to quit, before I answered the call to quit. Why? To pursue my calling. I've been called here. So, how many of you are being called in a particular direction and you're just not sure how to become the person that can answer that calling with full faith? That's a good question. And I guess now's a good time to tell you that I'm offering you this 8-week journey of becoming. It's less about doing and more about becoming. Becoming the person that allows this vision to come to life. They don't make it, they allow it. Because at some point, you will realize that you've even outgrown the need to avoid. You'll realize, oh, I've been stuck in this loop of avoiding my responsibilities. But that's not even me anymore. You'll realize at some point it takes more effort to maintain this version of yourself that you've entirely outgrown. You'll come to this realization that you've completely outgrown this version of yourself, and you're like, why am I still holding on to them so tightly? It's because you don't know anything else. It's because you don't know anything else. You're in this liminal space. And I host these live sessions on my social media, and I had a girl come on the other day, and she's just explaining to me how she just doesn't know who she is anymore. You know, she's not who she was, and yet she's not who is becoming. And she's just speaking with so much, like, you can feel the angst, the frustration, just the dire need to figure out what is going on. And I know that feeling because I was there. But I realize, like, I'm holding on so tightly to this need to figure out exactly what is going on. But what if that is not my purpose right now? What if this season was to simply be confused? What if we were supposed to be confused? What if it wasn't supposed to make sense? And these phases of integration are uncomfortable. And I understand why people avoid walking the path of their truth, because there's so much uncertainty, and we love certainty. Humans love certainty. It's natural to want to avoid a path that is unclear, yet you feel so magnetized to it. And I'm here to ask you, isn't that pull enough of an answer for you to answer that call? Isn't that feeling enough of clarity? Enough clarity for you to pursue it? Some of us might argue, no, I need more answers than that. How am I supposed to feel safe and secure? Well, you make up for the rest of the unknown with your faith, and by allowing your intuition to guide you, because your intuition will always guide you in the direction that is meant for you. It will always guide you in the direction of your truth, only if you learn how to listen. This is the path of following your truth. And it's not easy. It's not cute at all. It looks really, really ugly on the outside. And to me, that makes sense. It makes sense that it has to look ugly on the outside. Think about it. Up until now, you've chosen familiarity, you've chosen belonging. Even if it meant it was at the sacrifice, it was at the cost of your truth. You made decisions you didn't really want to make. You just felt pressured to make them. You've been in relationships that didn't really fulfill you, uphold you, but you stayed in them because you didn't know anything else. And maybe being alone just felt too unbearable. Or maybe you just didn't know how to trust yourself. You just didn't know how to trust that feeling inside. Maybe all along you knew that relationship wasn't right for you, but you stayed. And this is what it looks like to know your truth, to know what your truth is asking of you, but not having the courage or the faith or the trust even to follow that calling. And so it's a skill in itself to be able to follow your truth and make decisions from a place of honesty, integrity, and alignment. Now the cost, it may cost you a lot to follow your truth. It may cost you your entire family. It may cost you several relationships and several connections and things that matter to you. And so now you're at this point of deciding, what will I choose to value? These facets of my life that don't truly represent me at my core, or will I choose myself at the sacrifice of these things that don't even honor me, that don't even align with me and my values in the first place? I mean, those are the two decisions you have. It's what will you sacrifice? Will you continue to sacrifice yourself at the cost of your truth? Or will you choose to sacrifice the things that you've learned to value over your truth? Or I think I said, or will you choose to value your truth at the cost of these misaligned things, people, and places? This is the season of identity integration, of choosing your truth, of being you at your core, even when it doesn't make any sense, because following your intuition and following your calling is not supposed to make sense. You are walking a path that's never been walked before, because it's yours, and that's the beauty of it. Now, the entire challenge of this thing is to learn how to follow your intuition and build your intuition, your intuitive muscle. And not only that, but learning how to trust it. Okay, hearing it is one thing, trusting it is another. And this is one of the things I guide you through in my 8-week journey of becoming the person becoming who you know you are at your core. And the beauty of this journey, of this 8-week journey, is that it's structured, it is formatted. We dissect each layer of identity integration, the self-concept, the environments you surround yourself in, the day-to-day decisions you're making. And it becomes much easier to become this person because you are consciously aware of the journey you're on, compared to doing this journey entirely on your own, of integrating identities completely on your own. You're battling with your old identity every single day. Now, are you battling with your identity every single day in this program? Yes, but you have somewhere that is grounded. You have a journey that is grounded, that you can refer back to, that makes it easier to align with your truth, so that you're not pulled back into your old habits, so that you're not pulled back into your old belief systems. Why? Because there's a system. We're meeting weekly. You're learning weekly. You are actively integrating weekly, and you're surrounded by people that are doing the work as well. This program is creating and choosing a shift in your environment. This is your environment. It becomes your environment, and changing your environment is one of the most important aspects of identity integration. It is your environment. And this is what the becoming builds for you, creates for you. All you have to do is answer the calling and say yes. That is the becoming. We start in the early weeks of August. And to inquire about this program, you can leave me a comment. You can reach out through my email, my social media platforms, and we will take it from there. I also offer 1-hour intuitive identity integration sessions where we dismantle exactly the pattern that is looping you in these old identities that no longer serve you. You'll know how to break the pattern, how to interrupt the pattern, and more importantly, what I offer you is a reflection of yourself, the ability to see yourself clearly, the ability to see your own patterns clearly. Not because I have all the answers, but because I can refer you back to your own truth. And I know what it's like to become disconnected from your truth. We're absorbing all of these projections, all these limiting beliefs that were never ours in the first place. And so we become disconnected from our intuition, our truth, our calling. So this 1-hour session helps us dismantle all of those layers that aren't really us and helps us align with our truth. You'll get exactly what you need in that 1-hour session. Thank y'all for listening. I hope this helped paint the picture for you of why it matters now to choose your truth, to align with your truth, and to become the person that you are being called to be. You have a purpose. Now the question is, will you believe that? Will you trust it? And more importantly, will you actively move in that direction? The direction of your truth, no matter what it costs you, because it's no longer worth it to sacrifice your truth, your dignity, your joy. That is the purpose of identity integration. Thank you.